Hi, everyone. Welcome. So we'll get started around 1. I'll also start our Facebook live stream. Hi, Mosen. How are you? Doing well? Where are you joining us from? Okay, as people are coming in, if you could please turn your camera on for the class, so I'll be able to see if everyone is following along and if you have any questions. Hi, Matthew. Hi, Natalie. Great to have you guys back with us again. So we'll get started soon. Today we're going to talk about speech recognition, which is how Siri and Amazon Alexa and other voice assistant, how they're able to translate what we're saying into text. So I'll like to use the few minutes before we get started to ask everyone a question, so to get you thinking about how Siri and Alexa work. Think about which voice assistant you think is the best and leave a comment in the chat section. We'll take a poll and see which one is the most popular in the class. So which voice assistant do you think is the best? Leave it in the chat below. And by best, I mean able to get the words that you're saying. Great, so now we're live on YouTube. We'll just wait until 1 for more people to join us here. For those of you who are just joining the class, I had a question for everyone just as a warm-up. Which voice assistant out of Apple Siri, Amazon Alexa, Google Assistant, Microsoft Cortana, which voice assistant do you think is the best one? Feel free to leave a comment. And we'll see which one do we like the best in this class. So the question was, out of all the voice assistants that now are available, I believe a lot of you have experience at least maybe asking a question to Siri or Alexa before. So out of Amazon Alexa, Apple Siri, and the other voice assistants, which one do you think is the best? And for those of us just joining now, I would like to encourage you to turn your camera on. That'll really help to make the virtual classroom feel like a real classroom, and other people in the class can see your reactions too. Great. So I'm seeing quite a few new faces here today. Well, welcome everyone. I see some familiar faces that have joined us here before. So in our virtual classroom here, my name is Yang. I'll be teaching the class today. And we also have a teaching assistant. Her name is Yuling in the class. So while I'm teaching, I might not be able to answer all of your questions. So feel free to send any questions to her as well. Especially anything with accessing websites or any technical problems with Zoom. All right, it's 1 o'clock, so we're going to get started. From the poll question that we did from a few minutes ago, it seems like Alexa is most popular among everyone here. Okay, Natalie says Alexa because it's the only one I use at home. All right, so we don't all have the same experiences or which voice assistant we have at home. But they all use similar techniques on how they make that work, how they can translate sounds and words that we're saying into real text. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Speech recognition. Going to start sharing my screen. All right. Can everyone see this all right? Great. So like we were just talking about, voice assistants are probably the most common AI systems in our lives. And they're really easy to interact with because they try to talk like humans. So I'll give you a small example. Where I live here in Pittsburgh, it's been quite rainy these days. So tomorrow, if I'm going outside, I would like to be prepared. So I can ask a question for Siri. Hi, Siri.
Hi, Yang. What's up?
Can everyone hear this? Okay.
Interesting question.
Okay, that wasn't for you, Siri. Hi, Siri. Will I need an umbrella tomorrow?
It doesn't look like it's going to rain tomorrow.
Okay, so what I just said to Siri was, do I need an umbrella tomorrow? And Siri was able to show me the weather here on my phone. That's really smart in my opinion. I didn't say the word weather or rain. Instead, I said, if I need an umbrella. That's as if I'm talking to a human. But Siri gave me the weather forecast for tomorrow. So in a way that Siri understands, an umbrella means weather, and needing an umbrella means if it's going to rain tomorrow. And also, it was able to pull up my real location here. So it showed me weather for Pittsburgh tomorrow, rather than, having me type in where I am currently. So we can see that speech recognition is a very smart system, and it can help us in a lot of ways. But today, I just like to make clear, we're talking about the speech recognition aspect of the interaction that I just had with Siri. So that would be the first step of translating what I'm saying into text. And then there comes the next step where Siri needs to figure out, oh, umbrella meaning rain, and I need to show the weather forecast. So that would be actually understanding language, which is very fascinating, if not more. But today we're going to talk about the first part, which is actually transcribing the words that I'm saying. Great. Agenda for today, we're going to talk about how speech recognition works, and we'll do speech recognition in Calypso, so you can talk with Cosmo and have Cosmo respond to you. It's pretty exciting. And then we'll take on a bit of a challenge in Calypso. Everyone here will code their own traffic intersection. So you'll say red light or green light, and then using your voice to control the cubes in Calypso. Let's get started. So applications of speech recognition. We talked a lot about voice assistants just now, but there are even more applications of speech in our lives. Can anyone think of another example of AI speech? Okay, if you can think of another application or another way that we're using AI speech in our lives, send it in the chat. Or, just yell it out. You can press space to unmute yourself. Okay, so we got a response from Charlie. Charlie says speech to text. That's awesome. Great job. So speech to text, would you actually like to explain that? Give us an example.
I don't really know any examples.
Okay. I have an example. Sometimes if I'm in a hurry and I'm trying to take notes in my class or in my meeting, I'll just use Siri, and then Siri will actually transcribe what I'm saying. So taking the speech and then translating it into text. But awesome job. Yeah, so speech to text is a great one. So other than voice assistants, we also have live captioning on YouTube or Vimeo. Actually, I don't know if it's on Vimeo, but actually on Zoom, the software that we're using today, you can actually turn on captioning. It'll show you what I'm saying. So that's done in real time using speech recognition. Also, now we're able to use Google Translate, not just by typing, but you can actually say the words. So translation by voice. Has anyone tried the translation by voice feature on Google Translate? No? Okay. Yeah, it's a bit of a new one, but in my experience, it works pretty well. So feel free to try that. We can see that speech recognition is actually really common. We use it a lot, maybe sometimes even without noticing. But this technology is actually really new. So take a guess when Siri came out. Maybe it's a bit earlier than you all will remember. Okay, Marina says 2011. That's correct. So Siri came out not very long ago, and Amazon Alexa came out just in 2014. So all of this is actually very new, but now we're very used to it, of talking to voice assistants. So the new advances in speech recognition technology is made possible by machine learning. So it works by taking in a lot of data. So every time you talk to Alexa or Siri, it's adjusting its algorithms to do its work better. So here in the picture, we have a toddler learning to speak language. So we can think about speech recognition similar to how a human baby started learning what everyone around him or her is saying. So human babies, we're not born knowing what words are or knowing what our parents are saying to us, but everyone is talking constantly, so we have a lot of data in our environments that we're listening all the time. So eventually we start to pick up rules and patterns in our native language. But humans, we do it very effortlessly. Think about anytime you meet a new person, maybe in class or maybe when you met me virtually. So it's even more dependent on speech because you can't see my gestures as well as if we were in person. So when you meet a new person, you don't need to adjust to their voice like Amazon, Alexa, or Siri need to. We just naturally do it. But for speech recognition systems, it actually needs a lot of work to get it perfect. They need to take in data not only just in standard American English, let's say, but in different dialects like British English or Australian English, and accents. People talk differently, and even styles of speaking. So you are getting used to my style of speaking because you've been in this class for a while. But as you can notice, every teacher or every instructor has their own way of talking. Anyone has any questions about how speech recognition works with by machine learning? All right, no questions. So let's move on to the next part. So we'll use Calypso, and then we'll learn how to use speech in Calypso. For anyone who's new here, I'm going to send the link in the chat here for everyone. Just a bit of background for new people in here. We're using an AI programming software called Calypso, and it's just live on this webpage, calypsorobotics.com, that I just sent in the chat. So if you want to open that up, that's where we'll be doing coding for the rest of class today and for a few classes from now on. All right, I think people should be familiar with Calypso. Everyone able to open the website all right? Great, I'm seeing some head nods, awesome. Okay, let me go back to sharing my screen so you can see here. Awesome. Okay, so now I have a fresh program in Calypso. So to have a conversation with Cosmo, we can use the hear and say functions. So hear and say, so say would be the action. So when hear something, do say in response. So in our program, let's say when here, and when I put in this here tile, a box opened up for me to type. So I'm writing down, hi, Cosmo. And over here on the do side, I'll pick the say function. And we'll say, hi, human. So the entire program reads, when hear hi, Cosmo, do say hi, human. Okay, I'll give everyone a minute to program this in your Calypso, and we'll try it together. Great. Okay. Is everyone here yet? You've coded when and here so far? Awesome. Thanks, Daniel. So let's try this together. Let's see. Hi, Cosmo. Hi, Cosmo. Great. So it worked. I heard hi, human. I don't think you guys will be able to hear it because it came from my computer here. But as you saw just now, when I said hi, Cosmo, the orange text is changing based on what is picking up what I'm saying. And this part of Calypso is actually connected to the Google Speech API. That just means that we're using Google Speech for this part. So what is transcribing should be the same if I were to say that to Google Assistant. So when it heard me say, hi, Cosmo, we saw an orange bubble pop up and Cosmo said, hi, human. All right, why don't everyone try this now on your own laptop? And feel free to vary the things that Cosmo is saying. Doesn't have to be hi, Cosmo, hi, human. You can say something like, what's the weather today, or anything you want. And another thing, while we have you here, that you can try is when you're in this say text box right here, you can actually put in a few more lines. Just hit enter after you're finished with each sentence. So I can say, hi, human, hello, how are you? So if you put different lines of words like this, Calypso will actually randomly pick whichever one to use. So this is a way to make your program a little bit creative, a little less predictable. I'll give everyone a few minutes to play around with the hear and say functions. Okay, I'm seeing a few raised hands here in the chat. If you have a question, you can message me or Yuling, the TA. Okay. A few people have messaged me that it's working for them. Awesome. All right, it seems like most people have tried their programs. Awesome. So great seeing new faces here. All right, we'll move on to the next part. So what we did just now was coding the robot to say things. And as you all know from last class, the robot is not the only thing we can program. We can actually program the cubes, right? So the cubes can actually talk. And to have cubes talking, we'll need to come out of novice mode and go to normal mode. So on my computer here, I'm already in normal mode. It says so right here. But if you're starting a new program, it might still be in novice mode. So to be able to code cubes, you'll need to go to Home and Settings and click on the first thing, and it should say normal mode. So now that we're in normal mode, we're able to pick which character we're coding. So let's say cube 1. And I'll have cube 1. Let's do when here. So I wrote, when here, I am Cosmo the robot. Do say, let's say I am a smart cube, because the cubes are smart. Okay. Maybe we can add something else. So there's also, oh, sorry. What I meant to do was pick the glow tile. So we've known from a few classes ago that we can make cubes turn different colors. So I'm going to pick orange. So now here I have a program that's 2 lines. The first one deals with speech, and then the second one is making the cube light up orange. However, I want the cube to do 2 things at once. So when the cube's here, I am Cosmo the robot, I want it to light up and say the thing at the same time. So as you all remember from last class, if I run this program now, it'll automatically glow orange since we don't have a when condition here. So if you're not telling your cube under what condition to act, it'll just do the do part automatically. So if I want the cube to do these 2 things when I say this, I'll need to indent the second line like so. So when I indent the second line but leave the when part empty, I'm essentially telling the cube, when you hear this, do these 2 things. This is a review that we briefly covered last time. Okay, so now if I try this program, I am Cosmo the robot.
I am a smart cube.
Okay, so it did what we wanted, which was light up and say I am a smart cube at the same time. Okay, now I'll give everyone a few minutes to try coding different cubes and maybe using the indentation to have your cubes or robot do two things at once. Okay, we have a question from Daniel. How do you indent? That's a great question. So if you want to follow with me on my screen right here, so I have the second line unindented now. When I'm trying to indent it, I need to have my pencil on the when. So when I'm on, pencil is on when I'm taking up the entire rule. So I'm dragging it to the right. And now the second rule is underneath the first rule. That's a great question. Okay, Yulin, can you send the Calypso link again? I think people have gotten lost. Okay, we got a question from Gia. How do you test it? So to run the program, if you're on a MacBook, you will press the delete on your keyboard. If you're on a Windows, press backspace. But it should be on either system, it should be, whoa, okay, this doesn't work with virtual background, but it should be this button right here. All right. How are we doing? Are we ready to move on? Brian, how are you doing? Great. Okay, Jeanette, if you have a question, please send me or the TA a message. Okay, for the new people who are joining here and haven't used Calypso before, we'll stay on for a bit after the class so you can catch up with what we have been doing with Calypso. Okay, so for everyone here, I would like to propose our coding challenge for today. What we had just talked about, the traffic intersection simulation. So we'll make use of what we already know, how to manipulate cubes, and we'll also put in a little bit of speech recognition that we're just learning here today. So the challenge is code a program in Calypso where you're using your voice to control the cubes. When we say red light, will want one of the cubes. Let's say cube 3. Make cube 3 red, and when we say green light, and we'll make cube 3 green. And as a bonus point, if you can have the cube say something back to us in confirmation, so if I say red light, and then actually Cosmo, if Cosmo can say, and Cosmo says, stopping for red light. So in this case, the traffic intersection simulation, we're thinking about Cosmo like a self-driving car. So we're using a voice to control one of the cubes, and the cube is a traffic light, and Cosmo is a self-driving car. Any questions about the challenge? And I'll just complete the prompt here. So when we tell the cube to turn green, and Cosmo would say safe to move. So responding to our voice command. All right, what are your questions? Please leave it in the chat. Okay. We have a question if we need to make a new program. Making a new program is a good idea. So you can go to home and then new to start a new program in Calypso. Okay, if you've raised your hand, Motion and Jeanette, can you send me a message if there's an issue? Okay. We have a question, is it necessary to have Cosmo? The answer is no. So here we're running a version of Calypso that just lives on the browser. So we're running everything in simulation mode, but the virtual robot you see on the world map represents Cosmo. So if you do have a Cosmo, you can download the program and load it onto your desktop software, so you can actually run it on the robot if you have one. But here today, we're not using the robot. We're running simulation mode. Okay, how's everyone doing with the challenge? Is the question clear? Great, thanks, Brian. Okay, so I think people are making a bit of progress. So we'll wait a few minutes for other people to finish coding, and we'll have a few volunteers to share their program, or one volunteer to share their program. Okay, what is the prompt again? Okay, let me share my screen just a moment. Okay, so the prompt is back up. Okay. We need a volunteer. Okay. Okay, I see Julian raised his hand. Anyone else who hasn't presented before would like to share their program? Okay, raise your hand if you would like to share your program with the class. Otherwise, we'll go to Julian. Okay, Daniel, are you ready?
How do you share the thing again? How do you share it?
So I need to stop share for you to be able to share. Okay, let's see. I'm going to give you the ability to share.
Ah,
Yuling, they're able to share their screens, right?
I'm not. It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, right, okay. Let's see. Ooh, okay, got it, okay. Now I think you can.
Share.
Awesome, so let's see what you've done.
Why isn't it? This is very delayed for some reason. Green light.
Safe to move.
Why is it? Red light. Red light.
Stopping for red light.
Awesome, very good job. All right, a virtual round of applause for Daniel. Very nicely done. Would you like to share with us what your thought process was? So I know you didn't code everything in one place.
So first I coded Cosmo because I just had to put in some say blocks and then some gear blocks.
Yeah.
And then I coded cube green, basically the same thing. So basically I had to do one thing, so two. So
very nice. Excellent work. So we saw Daniel, when he shared his screen, we only saw the cube portion of the code. So he coded the robot part under robot. So saying red light and green light, and saying safe to move and stopping for red light. And then all the cube related actions are under the cube character. Okay, does anyone else have a different solution? You've done things differently? Julian, did you do the same thing?
I just had a question.
Yep.
I was having trouble doing it because he said I said red light and then he said like stop, like stopping, but I did my code for cube 3 and it didn't turn red like it was supposed to, so I don't know what was wrong.
Okay, we can take a look after class. Awesome. So if you have more questions about the challenge, feel free to stay on and you can share your screen and we'll be able to take a look. But very good job, everyone. Today we talked about speech recognition, how we're using it in our lives with voice assistants, live video captioning, and Google Translation by voice. We dived into a little bit of how speech recognition works. It needs to take in a lot of data and use machine learning to be able to accommodate people's different voices, different dialects, and different accents. And then we coded a program using voice command to light up cubes in Calypso. And we know that Calypso is connected to Google Speech. So it works in the same way that we spoke earlier. All right, if you don't have any questions, this is class for today. Thank you everyone who were able to join, and thanks for everyone who've been here every week, and also thanks to people who are new here. Welcome. Okay, you're free to leave the meeting if you don't have any questions, and so I'll now take questions. So we'll take a look at Julian's program first, since he asked the question. Julian, can you share your screen so we can take a look?
Actually, I was experimenting and I don't know what was wrong. I think I fixed it somehow. Oh, that's all I know though.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Experimenting with it a little, and then I tested it and I said it, and it worked.
And it worked? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you're running the program, one thing that could happen is Google Speech could get your words wrong. So you need to look at the orange text and need to say exactly what you put in your program. Otherwise, it wouldn't respond. Sometimes you need to try a few times and try to enunciate clearly. Okay, Danielle, you have a question?
For some reason, so my cube 3, when I say red light and green light, so I have a code to make it glow red and glow green respectively. It just doesn't work for some reason.
Okay, I'm not sure if I understand exactly, but your code when you just shared it worked, right?
Yeah.
And now it's not working?
Wait, let me test it.
Actually, I'll just close out our YouTube live stream now. Okay. Okay, while Danielle's testing, it seems like people have problems turning the microphone on. So when you run Calypso, there should be on the top right corner a window that popped up asking you for microphone access, and you need to allow it. If it didn't work, you need to go into Chrome settings, and I think it's under advanced, and there you can change your settings for which websites that have access. Okay, Danielle, it's working. Awesome. Okay. Okay, I'm just going back in the chat. Gia asked how to change the color of the cube. Okay, so let me show. You have to be, well, so you could code on the robot side. So the robot could turn the cube different colors. That's one way of changing the colors. The second way is you can code the cubes themselves. So if I share my screen, I think you'll be able to see. Okay, so over here, I'm coding the robot. One way of changing the cube's color is I can do when C cube 1, do glow it orange. And if we run the program, so this just makes use of the when see cube 1. And since Cosmo always sees cube 1, it'll change its color. So this is the first way, Gia. Another way is, so you see here, I'm coding the robot. You know, see this icon here that tells me which character I'm coding. It's on the right-hand side. I can, so to code the cubes themselves, you need to come out of novice mode into normal mode. So this is what we were talking about before. And to do that, you need to go to home and settings, and when it says normal mode, then you're good. Okay, so now I can tap on the icon before, and it shows me other options now, now that I'm in normal mode. So I can go to cube 1, and then now we're in the mindset or in the perspective of the cube, right? So I can say glow me because now I'm the cube, glow me red. Let me just delete this part. So now we can run the program. Great. So now it's red. So those are the 2 ways of changing a cube's color. Does that answer your question? Great. Okay, we'll be able to stay on for about 5 minutes or so. Let's see. Other questions? Which date is the next class? So class is every week until middle of May. That's how long we've planned so far. And it's every week on Thursday Eastern time at 1 p.m. Okay, Arosh, I have a question. What is Cosmo? Can I explain briefly? So we're using this program Calypso. It's actually designed for a robot called Cosmo. And the robot is actually what you see here in the world map when you run the program. So this robot is called Cosmo. The Calypso program allows you to code that robot. But since now we're doing everything virtually, we don't have access to robots, so we can run our programs in simulator mode, which is what it is here. It's a simulation of cubes and robots. And actually, in the first class, Dr. Tereski came here and he talked about how simulator mode is used a lot in robot testing. Okay, so to do speech recognition, you need to allow access to your microphone. You could, and I would recommend Chrome actually for this. Okay, we have a question from Dua. Why do we use Cosmo? So the reason is Cosmo is a truly AI robot. There are not a lot of AI-enabled robots out there. So it's a great way to teach AI and robotics at the same time. As you can see here, we're doing pretty cutting-edge AI things and using the Google Speech API to control cubes, which is pretty awesome. Okay. If you have more questions, you can email us at info@readyai.com. For everyone here, we will be hosting a summer camp that will be starting in June. We don't have the exact information yet, but when we do, we'll send out an email. Okay, so I think we're going to log off. I just left the email in the chat if you have more questions. But thanks again, everyone, for joining, and I hope you had a good class. And we'll see you next week. Bye.